And welcome to the Nerds and Hip Hop podcast. This podcast is about the intersection of hip hop and nerd life. Ice Climbers, Murs, Magic the Gathering are all fair game. And if you know any of these names, welcome.
There are four main parts. We first review our weeks in nerddom and hip hopdom, and we usually explore a theme through our nerd and hip hop influences, but this time we have a very special guest. We're interviewing Charles Hamilton a little bit later on. Then after that, we ask ourselves a question, and then we open up to your questions.
I'm the Wolf's Den.
And I'm Victoria, a.k.a. Miss Old School.
The legendary co-host.
Yay, this is Nerds on Hip Hop. So what's your week in nerddom looking like?
I finally started playing Ocarina of Time.
Ooh, jealous.
And it feels so weird. So this is how it goes. As a kid, I never got to play Ocarina of Time. It was my brother's N64, so he would not let me play it. So I could only watch. And I remember having, I think it was the Shadow Temple used to give me nightmare. Like, I remember that game a lot. I remember there was a summer camp I used to go to, and they were playing one of the other temples. Like, I've seen it. I've played it a little bit. Like, I even remember playing it, the Deku Tree at one of my friend's house. Mm-hmm. But it's so weird to finally sit down and at least start it myself. Because I remember that Deku Tree when I was a kid, when I remembered playing a little bit at my friend's house, it felt like this huge, long experience. I sat down and played Ocarina for like an hour and a half maximum. I'm like, I got everything. I went in there already. I was like, wow, this is much smaller than I remembered. And I was like, that age difference stuff, because I know what Ocarina is about, the time traveling of like your age and going back and forth. Like, I'm curious now, but since I'm experiencing it as an adult versus just the memories that like are lingered in the back, what I'm going to be feeling. And I laughed a lot. There's a character named Mido who he literally stops you from going to the Deku Tree at the beginning of the game, and he's like mad at you. He's like, you don't even have this, you don't even have that. Go get your sword and shield, and maybe I'll let you through. Just maybe.
You just tried your set. Yeah. That's cool. It's kind of telling you what you need. Yeah. But it's like the game trying to tell you what you need to like go forward. You're not like jumping the gun, but also him just like being really petty.
Exactly. And then when he comes back, he's like, wait, you did all of that? Why is the Deku Tree dead? It's your fault. I mean, he just walks off. I was like, you are just such a pity person right now. It's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
And when people talk about this game, or even like all the times I've heard about this game, like he doesn't get brought up a lot, so he may not have any like big story thing down the line. Because I know the Kokiris don't have that much of a big storyline down the line. But I laugh a lot, and it's funny to look at that first dungeon, too, because one of the major puzzles is breaking a spider's web. But so you go in on the bottom floor, and you see the spider's web, and you can't break through it. It's very dense. And then you have to keep going up and up all the way to the top floor. And then you have to jump from the top floor to break through the spider's web. And it's a puzzle I knew how to do, but it's one of those things where it's like people would take it for granted because that seems like such a simple concept, right? You jump from a higher level to break a spider's web. That's not deep or thoughtful, right? Mm-hmm. But you think about Ocarina of Time being the first 3D Zelda game, much less one of the first just general 3D adventure games. Mm-hmm. So it's literally trying to teach you to think vertically. Because every other Zelda game up to that point is on a 2D plane, really. So you don't really have to do too much vertical thinking.
Right.
And when you look at it like that, it's like, yo, that's a nice first puzzle. That's a nice way to introduce people to start thinking differently. I was like, that's clever. That's intentional. And I'm like, people have said Ocarina is like very outdated and stuff, and I can see elements of that already. But I'm like, I'm curious if people can also think of the context for what it was teaching you about 3D gaming at the same time.
Why do people say it's outdated? Like, what reasons?
A couple of things. The kind of what used to feel like an open world in '98 was not the same way an open world was when GTA came out. And it's not the same way that an open world feels like in 2017. I mean, 2018. Yeah. And also, a bunch of Zelda games afterwards really just follow a lot of core ideas from Ocarina, which makes sense. Like, you change an entire game of, like, how 3D adventures think alike. Of course you're going to follow a lot of what you did. It's only right.
Mm-hmm.
But people used to say, like, you keep copying Ocarina, you keep copying Ocarina. So, like, for example, the first 3D Zelda game I played was Twilight Princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, yo, this is just a baby Ocarina. Or this is trying to be too much like Ocarina. Mind you, there's a lot of great things about Twilight Princess. But it's stuff like that where it's like, people have tread that ground a lot that they think it's just been dated in that sense, and that certain things don't work the same way anymore, that they're like, yeah, it's a little bit outdated. I'm curious if I'll feel the same way. I feel like the only thing that comes to mind as feeling a little bit outdated, but I can't blame it again, is playing Zelda without 2 analog sticks.
Huh.
Because, I mean, I'm playing it on the 3DS, but, like, even when you played on N64, you didn't have 2 analog sticks. So you're like,
right.
It feels a little bit weird moving the camera and stuff like that.
That is interesting. Man, I gotta play now. I want to play.
Hey, maybe when I finish, I can lend it to you.
Ooh, yeah. That would be dope. But on my end, I watched the next Infinity War trailer. Super hyped for it coming out next month. But one thing, but I'm still like annoyed because for the longest time I thought that, just like the Infinity Gauntlet comic, that Thanos was going to be motivated by trying to impress Death. The greatest character,
greatest character motivation I've ever seen in my life.
Exactly. Like, he's literally just, like, trying to romance Death because, like, he's in love with her, and she's just like, so.
She really is just exactly like that. It's like, yeah.
Okay, you destroyed half of the universe. You killed half of everybody in the world. Your point? Like it's just like, meh. Like, she is literally the definition of meh.
She's given the hardest curves ever.
She really is. I think someone even ridiculed Thanos because he literally makes a wife, and he's kissing her in front of Death, trying to make her jealous. Like, see, she's perfect. Like, I don't need you anymore. It's like, really, Thanos? Really, try a little harder. But
I love it. It's like, my love is worship. Sorry, it was just
right. Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great line. But yeah, so I was really looking forward to seeing that. I've been watching the last few films, who's gonna be Death? It has to be either gonna be a new character, maybe it'll be old character. I know some people are saying it might be Hela from Thor Ragnarok, which I didn't really like that idea, but I was sure, why not? It turns out that we're not getting Death at all, somewhat. It's from what I read, Kevin Feige was saying that, maybe Kevin Feige, somebody was saying that his motivation is just to balance out the universe. I think half of his planet was killed, or some people on his planet were killed. He's basically trying to stop overpopulation. And that's cool. But I really wanted that character. But the new trailer looks really cool. I think just seeing Captain America fight off against Thanos, he's holding his Infinity Gauntlet back. And I'm just Cap's strong.
I mean, he was the only one to slightly budge the hammer too. If you remember, I think that was in Age of Ultron.
Oh, you're right. He is. Yeah.
So
he was
Cap's worthiness and strength has always been around.
And then he has the power of the beard now, so there's that.
I know the entire black girl nerd population is all over that.
Totally. Definitely. All over Chris Evans' beard.
Is he your husbando too?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I have to think on that. I mean, T'Challa's here now, so I have to. And M'Baku, I love M'Baku, so I think he's my M'Baku boo at the moment. But But yeah, but I was kind of disappointed though, because this trailer, I don't think it's better than the first trailer they released. Like that scene where Black Panther like get this man a shield. It was like the greatest line ever. Like that alone got me excited for what's about to happen. So this trailer was like, it's cool, but it wasn't as great as the first trailer.
I'm fine though. Like, give us whack trailers, because we know we expect it to be good. So it's like, if you're not going to even show us anything close to the most important parts to get us hyped, like, that's okay.
That's true. Yeah, I guess that's good. Yeah, because I don't like when trailers show me the best parts, and I'm hoping they didn't show us the best parts. I was really disappointed. I don't think they did though. So that's true. That is a little bit better because it didn't ruin anything. It didn't add to anything. But I mean, that's how you go through the movie. But it didn't get me any more excited either.
Right. That's actually a good question. Did you Oh wait. You know,
I did not get my ticket.
Right, but we may not have. Yeah, we'll spoil that later. I just realized that can lead to an announcement.
We have announcements. So you hear them later.
Moving on.
Yeah. So how about hip-hop? What have you been listening to lately?
The second greatest MC of all time blessed us with a new project.
And who does Marcus think is the best MC? Second best MC of all time? Who's the first?
You mean Doom?
Oh, yeah, you think Ghost. Oh, Doom? Really? I thought Ghostface was your number one.
I think Ghost has the best argument on anybody. I think in the terms of, like, you can't argue Ghost. Like, if whichever way you want to measure being the GOAT, Ghost has the argument. If you want to say cultural impact, you can't beat Ghost. If you talk about amount of classic albums, you literally can't beat Ghost. You talk about consistency and not falling off, you can't be like. If you want to go in all those particular lines, rhyme skills, Ghost has all of those things. But for me, in terms of when I think about lyrically what's been done, has a strong catalog, literally done stuff that people still haven't really done, like, and pioneered like all this other stuff, and again has a longer career than Ghost. Essentially, I would say Doom.
Okay.
But yeah, Ghost I just think has the best overall argument you can make. Is like whatever your measure of success, he has it. But
I don't know if he has the best version of each measure of success. Like, I don't think he has the most cultural impact.
The thing is that you can't. If you want to talk about Wu being relevant now, Wu doesn't stay relevant now without Ghost.
True, but alone he doesn't have it. But like as a part of Wu-Tang, he did.
Right, but to me, it's like if you talk about the artists that matter the most from Wu, from a cultural standpoint, it goes Method Man, Ghost, and then everybody else from a cultural standpoint, not from a literal lyricism or other standpoints. But people would say Method, and ODB, yeah.
ODB.
But I would say that people would immediately say that I'm used to hearing that Method Man is people's favorites.
Yeah, he's definitely.
And then
popular.
And then you hear that, especially in a post after the year 2000, Ghost is the best Wu member. Like, those become the things.
Maybe.
Like,
anyway.
I think people... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I realized I was going into Ghostface. Wow.
Like, let's get back to what you've actually been listening to in the past few weeks.
Anyways, the second greatest MC of all time.
Right.
Phonte from Little Brother and Foreign Exchange releases album No News is Good News, which, by the way, can I just say that's like an amazing title in of itself. I believe that deeply.
That is a really good name. No News is Good News. It's a good phrase too.
Yeah, and he gives me more of a, like, I hate to say it, like every time I listen to a Phonte record, I'm like, this feels like my older father, like a different father speaking to me and just like giving me tools of wisdom and knowledge. Like, I tweeted years ago, or like a year ago or 2 years ago, I was like, Phonte and Odyssey inspire me to be better men, to be a better man, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And this Phonte record just does the same. Like, there's a song called Expensive Jeans, which is really talking about the health component of being a black man, and literally like because of our health, we tend to die by 50 in terms of, hey, what was the phrase he says? Like, you're digging a grave with your teeth, which is
like what you're eating.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's such a crazy bar in itself. It's like he talks about like that diet component, and just like how when you're getting older, like 40s and whatever, it's like that's what's going to kill you. It's not even going to be anything else, which is sad.
It is.
And he talks about that. He's talked about his father a lot, and that's the other thing that's been great about this record, about thinking about Phonte tends to, like, life stories really pour throughout his records more than any other artist, I would say, in the sense of that he will release a song in, like, 03, and then in 05 he'll do a song that's about that topic, but because of how he's grown, the things that he says changes. So, like, there's a song he did in 05 called All For You off of The Minstrel Show. Incredible song. The song means the world to me. And he's really talking about how he's changed his perspective about, like, how he understands his bops, but he's also been very critical of his bops. Like, all that kind of exists. And then he has a line here on this record. He's like, how did he say? He's like, by the time you figure out that your pops is right, your boys complain about you. Which is like, wow.
Yeah, that's good. Because it's so true. Like, we forget how it is to be a kid, and then we realize that our parents are right at the same time.
Yeah, and
that's dope.
And then he's just like rhyming bars all over the place. Like, what like, if Atlas shrugged, I'ma give his arms a rest. Or even this one. This one's good. Like, black man, if you get a teaspoon of compassion, that's more than double the serving size. Like,
damn. Maybe he's the second greatest rapper of all time.
No, but so, like, here's the thing. I understand that sometimes people can be critical because he doesn't have, like, he doesn't sound super, like, his dexterity is there. Like, when you listen to him in his pocket, he's always there. But I feel like people sleep on his rhyme schemes. But I always say, like, even if you want to doubt his rhyme scheme capability, you can't doubt his quotables. He has them for days. And it's all, like, this is an old bar, but I mean, like, last year or the year before, he's like, my rhymes go over your head like IEDs, and then stay over your head like the sword of Damocles. Man.
Really?
Like, he's just not as, like, he's not as rapid fire like someone like Pharaoh or even Lupe or even M, but he's got the bars to go with them. And as I think, if you want to talk about, like, having something meaningful to say, he's always got something meaningful to say. Like, and that, for that reason alone, I really think highly of him. This album is great. I'm still spending time with it. I haven't really digested everything. My main thought right now is that since the Get Back, after Ninth Wonder wasn't his main producer for the rapping albums that he's a part of, because, yeah, without getting into that story, but the album still sounds soulful and so forth, but it's getting more and more sleek in the process. There's a soulfulness that's still present and still permeates the record, but the way that the samples and things that they're chopping the soulfulness sounds different. I've been trying to figure out what the best way to describe it is, and the best word I can think of is sleek. Like, it's there's something, as opposed to what I probably used the word to say raw or emotional before, sounds more sleek, which at times works for me, and at times I'm not in the mood to hear. So, I'm sorry, I just talked about.
No, it's fine. That was perfect. I am about to talk about the, like, 533, 534, and 535th best rappers. Since you talked about the second greatest, apparently. I'm talking about Migos.
Oh,
maybe 500.
1001, 1002, 1003.
See, I was going to be nice here. I was going to put them up with the 200s, maybe.
I mean, actually,
hard.
we'd have to really do a rap draft to really see where they are. They might actually end up being 400. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking like how many rappers there are, and I'm like, can I get to like 200 of like great rappers? I mean, I could.
We need to do an episode about that. We really do.
That would be really cool.
So consider it said today. We're gonna do that. But go ahead.
Yes. But one thing I do like about some rappers nowadays, or even just like rappers in general, just I love when they go outside of their comfort zone or they put themselves out there, do something out of the box. So one thing that I really appreciated with their latest video for Walk It, Talk It was like they dressed up in like these really like 70s garb with like afros and like bell bottoms and like pastel colors, and they basically did a tribute to Soul Train. And I just really enjoyed that. Like, you know,
they literally made the meme real. I don't know if you saw the original meme from like last year.
Yeah, when they had the Versace on. Was that it?
It wasn't Versace. I don't remember which track. It was one of their tracks. They were just like literally just playing it over Soul Train. So it's like, all right, I can't even get mad at you.
Oh, I think I know what you mean. But yes, I guess they made the meme real. But yeah, I just thought it was really cool for them to do in general, just because like, I don't know, like there's so much like on rappers to look cool and to look like whatever, but just the fact that they're willing to do this gave me a little. I have a little bit more respect for them.
I mean, do you think they take themselves that seriously?
No, not incredibly seriously, but I still think it's cool that they did it. Like, I do think they take themselves like a little bit seriously. Like, I think probably same level as like Future. Like, I think they take their image seriously.
Okay.
And I think this was a little out of the box to be like, but they made it look good. I think the other thing too, I mean, you know, I don't like Drake, but
I mean, he's your number one. I know. It's okay.
Worst, yes, number one worst. But I think Drake does best when he's acting. Like, I love Drake on SNL. I just don't like Drake in music. And I think this is another, like, because he's featured on this track, and I think this is another moment where you get to see him kind of in that element where he's kind of, like, honing in on his acting a little bit, because he has, like, this Jerry curl wig on, sort of. And
bringing back Jerry curls 2018.
Never. Because it looks terrible. And I think that's part of the point. But it was really cool, just, like, seeing him do that, them getting together, like, that moment was really cool. And the song is catchy. Like, I'll give it that. The song is really catchy. Like, I'll probably dance to it in a song, in a thing. There are no quotables, though. I was looking at the lyrics just now just to make sure. I thought there was one line where I was like, oh, that was kind of good, but I can't say. No.
No rap quotables from the 201, 202, 203, and 204 respective rappers all time?
Nope. Unfortunately not. I mean, I think the best one is... No, even that's bad. Yeah. Heard you signed your life for that brand new chain. Think it came with stripes, but you ain't straight with the gang.
Okay, that's not bad. From a rhyme perspective, it's not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the best line is probably just walk it like I talk it. Walk it because that's the only one I remember, and it's really catchy.
So does that make Migos 2 out of 3 for videos released this year?
Oh, for Stir Fry? Yeah, I guess so.
You have 2 Stir Fry videos, which I think both of them aren't bad.
Yeah, but I think the Tasty one is much cooler.
Yeah, I mean easily. But you'd put this up there with the Tasty one. It sounds like. Yeah, I do. I think I like concept videos. I mean, who doesn't? But I definitely do. So yeah, okay. I would say so. Also, I will say too, this song made me realize why people always say Offset is a better rapper. Like, apparently he's like
the one people in Atlanta really love, like when before they were big, and then Quavo's the one people love now. Like on a wide scale. Yeah.
If you guys
but when I heard his
are
voice
Migos
first, I was
fans
like, yeah,
listening to
better.
us, I was going to say, like, if you guys are Migos fans listening to us, give us the best songs for each of them, like that has their best performance, so we can really understand. Yeah, because we can clown them, but that doesn't mean that they can't rap at all. So. I mean, all right. Look, I don't like them, but come on, we can't. They're not all.
That's true. I mean, there are a lot worse rappers. I mean,
right? Like,
up to, like,
and they have an interesting enough rhyme scheme-ish thing. I mean, it gets boring quickly, but it can be interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't listen to all Culture too because it was too damn long. So I mean, maybe there's something to be said about when I spend more time with other projects. I don't foresee it, but I'm not going to entirely doubt it.
You might be right. I don't know when you became more of an optimistic than I did, but you might be right.
You know it's bad when that's happening.
It's bad when that happens. Because usually I'm the one like, you never know. Maybe. There might be something good in there.
Oh, boy.
But, yep.
Yeah. As you guys... Oh, go ahead.
I said, unfortunately, I have not found it yet.
Okay. I mean, I haven't found it yet either. But, so normally, as you can tell, this week's version of our Weeks in Nerddom and Hip Hop Dom is a little bit shorter. Because we didn't do any mutual stuff, because we have a huge, long interview with Charles Hamilton.
Yeah, he's re-releasing the album Pink Lavalamp after it was released 10 years ago officially, but he worked on it 12 years ago. And we're here to talk to him about it.
So you're going to hear a little bit of a redo of our intro because we thought we were going to do something else, but we ended up just going straight into our interview. The legendary.
Yes, legendary rapper Charles Hamilton is with us this time around.
How are you? Word.
Word. How's your week in nerddom been? What have you been doing?
My life is quiet. I read a lot. I've gotten into different sciences to pretty much to keep my mind open. A lot of relatives have said it's not healthy for me to be as fixated in music as I am. I'm a musician, to the core. I'm a pure musician, and I also feel with being a musician, you have to everything around you has to reflect what you're about. And I've changed my environment recently, and I literally have had the eye-opening experience to focus on something else. And I've been, with my musical abilities, which extend into other things of which I'm good at, I've been reading into, as I said, different sciences. And, I want to, it's not something I can rap about, like what I'm into now, no one would be interested in it. You know what I mean? I guess you could say it's nerdy, but it's not as it's not appealing, and I feel as though where I'm going mentally, the next step's teaching. You know, so like whether you're a geek or a nerd, you're in the classroom. So
it might be interesting.
What type of sciences stuff are you looking into now?
Yeah.
Specifically botany.
Okay.
Ooh. Are you thinking about growing any plants or something?
Well, those things require money, you know, and
True.
it you know, with the little bit of money I have, you know, I get books and records, you know, so that's where I'm at, you know, and without going too far into a mental space where I would need some sort of intervention, for lack of better words. I am focused, you know, and I see an unspoken bottom line of which we're probably going to speak about later on. And as I see it, I'm like, all right, there's more to you than just a pretty face. You know what I mean? Like just looking you in the face and saying, wow, that's cool. I wonder. Like, okay, like 6 letters in wonder. You know, that's 1 after 5. 5 is the number of doubt. And that's, you know, it's a numerology. Teach me something. Show me something. You know what I mean? So I continue, you know, I read, you know, and I pay attention to the wave of my philosophical ocean. You know what I mean? And I find oysters with pearls in it. You know, and you can take that metaphorically, or you can, you know, find it rather literal. You know, and I've been exploring it, and you know, there from the gems I find in it, there are also elements of which I want to stay away from. You know, like I you know, it's the obviously there, you know, I spoke about this on This Perfect Life, but you know, there is a fine line between left and right, right and wrong, good and evil. You know, and me walking it has led to apparently controversy, you know, misconceptions about my mental stability, and it's like I'm aware I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not crazy, and you know I see myself as a catalyst for my bottom line, a blessing. But my bottom line doesn't see itself as a blessing, and you know, has been what's put me in the most dire of positions. You know, like it's like Dr. King being black. You know what I mean? Like Dr. King was black in the South. Like, you know, I'm actually smart. I can open minds. I can bring my people to the next level, but my people can't take me anywhere as long as we have the same color. So I have to provide for myself. So, you know, Dr. King, whether he had a joint and a glass of Jack Daniels while reading the Bible and preparing his sermon for Sunday, he still had his calling. And when his calling brought him to his vocation, he got his doctorate. So there's if once you find the next level, it's up to you to enhance yourself, to elevate yourself,
Right.
and that's what I've been doing, reading botany books. I'm still reading The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. I'm on the search for Michael Jordan's autobiography. I want to read that again, and eventually I'll pick up an Alex Haley book. Like my uncle told me I should stay away from reading The Rebellious Slave because then I'll get really upset. And I kind of have every right to flip out with all of what I've been going through, but
right.
I want to stay centered, not self-centered, but centered. I want to stay balanced.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that would anger anybody. So, well, now you talk about like inspiring people through music, and now you're about to release Pink Lavalamp after 10 years.
Yes, this is. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say. Well, first of all, I just want to know, like, why is it called the Pink Lavalamp, and like, why now are you deciding to re-release it?
All right. The Pink Lavalamp is, man, it's about moods. I mean, like, there's a lot of, there's a definition and then there's a synopsis. My genre of music is born after neo soul and is an urban spin on trance. Before trap, the South was doing their thing, and they there was mostly keyboards, and MPC, but I definitely have my own genre, and because it's electro and neo soul, that's pretty much like your interior, like not to quote Wiz Khalifa, but your interior is pink, and lava lamps require electricity. So it's from the inside, but it's definitely
Electric.
very, very electric. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I mean, I couldn't write it without a soul, and I couldn't produce it without electricity.
Wow.
Literally, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
so one of my favorite color, like I love the color pink, and it's a devilish look at God. You know what I mean? My theory on God being a woman comes from a Dishwalla song in the 90s. And it says, tell me all your thoughts on God, because I'd really like to meet her. And when I first heard that, that's when I was like, wow, God as a woman, it really makes a lot of sense. At that time, like, Sonic was running the world, ironically. And I was like, yo, that's my, like, and Sonic and I have been best friends since I arrived on Earth. And, in Chemical Plant Zone, about 25% through the first act of the zone, you find a crucifix and rings. So I was like, though I believe Sega is more, like, yo, y'all are giving it up to God. You know what I mean? Like, Either God is an oppressive force of which us aliens have to fight against, or Satan and God. So I felt entitled, not even entitled, but like, I can see God. I want to see God, and so God reveals itself as a being more than a white male justifying the oppression of people of my color.
Mm.
And blue or not, Sonic is brown.
How do you
So
say that?
you can see it in his stomach and arms.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. I totally
That does
forgot.
make a lot
You
of
always
sense.
forget
Yeah,
about that. One of the things that's always permeated through your music, especially when I think of like the L Word 3 opening and even the opening of Lavalamp, that's like how much music means to you. You've even alluded to a lot of that at the beginning of the questions we asked. Like, how would you even describe your relationship with music has changed like 10 years later?
My music with relationship, wow, like I kind of just answered your question just now. My relationship with music is like, that's why people act and react to me the way they do, so they could I don't need anything other than music in a way to make, produce, compose, however, music. You know what I mean? So I love music, and I have put myself, I've compartmentalized. Like I'm not, I might not have a double-digit $1,000 studio or a bunch of equipment, but I have what it takes to produce high quality music on my own without taking up too much space or requiring too many people around, and if ever I need more, I present humility and peace so I can produce on my level. Like for example, I'm back home in Cleveland. I have two cousins who have studios. One cousin, he raps as well. Both of them make music apparently, but one cousin, he's got a little buzz in Cleveland. So I'm like, there's a little competitive spirit. You know what I mean? Like I hear what he does. He is very good at what he does. I just find it very mainstream. And I'm like, we're the same bloodline. We kind of don't have to play the game, but I'm not going to stop you if this is the direction you want to go in. However, once you meet me or work with me, hopefully you know this, like there's really not much you got to do. And I wanted him to, we've done a couple of songs together, but I haven't, thankfully, worked with him. I haven't had to compromise my creativity. He doesn't try to, Charles, why don't you jump on this Lil Xan beat or whatever, and and he jumps on the beat with me. He keeps up, and that's awesome. My other cousin produced for the Carter 2, and I go to his studio, and I'm very humble. Like I got my credentials. He has a solid plaque. You know what I mean? So it's like, gotta be humble in the presence of anybody with a plaque. So we've had conversations about where the business is going and where creativity is going, and I've heard changes in his music since we linked up, and I'm recording I'm definitely on a different level, creating, producing. I don't know, I genuinely cannot find a word for where I'm at musically. I'm trying to find a nice surface level word. I'm raising the bar after the Pink Lavalamp. You know what I mean? So there is no decrease in quality. Musicians know how you're supposed to respond if someone has something negative to say before listening to the end of the song. And I produce albums. So, if you're not going to listen from track one till track done and appreciate what's being done and said, the ball is in my court to respond how I want to respond, and that's what I'm working on now. Not reacting so angrily when someone, as we've seen in recent viral videos. I could definitely react. I didn't react the way I was supposed to react, and that could have cost me a couple of musician points, but I also have the right to spaz out because everything being said about me, I said about myself in 2006 on the Pink Lavalamp.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you didn't listen to the Pink Lavalamp straight through, or if you got high and missed something, it's cool to get high. I mean, I specialize in high music, but I feel as though when you listen to my music, and I don't know, I do know, there's an appreciation for music in general of which a listener would need before even getting to Charles Hamilton. You know what I mean? I am a musician. You know what I mean? I listen to music. I enjoy music. I study music. And my relationship with music, at the time of the Pink Lavalamp, I was very, I was going through growing pains. How ironic. I was, finding my way in the big city. I was about 18, 19 years old, and all I had left was my musical ability. I said it in the intro of the Pink Lavalamp. I didn't look at it. My uncle and I had I can't say falling out, but he's more traditional, I'm more radical. In recent years, I've gotten more traditional, lo and behold.
Really?
But, yeah. And I am the left, but I'm more righteous. You know what I mean? I don't objectify. I look at.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have the Pink Lavalamp kind of chronicled everything from being single and staying in the studio and just working like crazy to finally meeting the kind of girl I never thought I would be involved with, to being in an affair with my high school crush, to doing drugs and believing both of them were a hallucination, and trying to impress my friends, my neighborhood at the time was Harlem, the whole put New York on your back, like I had my backpack, and, just trying to, like, I was trying to find myself, again and again. So, like, on the album, like, a game you can play is which song was recorded first, and you know what I mean, who did he know, and things of that nature, and it's a ride, the Pink Lavalamp is a ride, but my relationship with music is as intact as it was the day I first picked up a pair of drumsticks, and goddamn, like, actually, like, we can go back to the keyboard, like, I've been in love with music since my yellow keyboard.
That's actually what I was going to ask in general, because the way that you've done it on Pink Lavalamp, where you've done it on Well Isn't This Awkward, you've always found ways to highlight your piano skills throughout. Would you even say that's like your favorite instrument throughout?
Man, I love music. I can't. The piano and I are like one. You know what I mean? Like, one, we are one. And there's just so much love between me and the piano, and after the piano, I love the drums. I'm still considered, the white boy with no rhythm, but I love the drums, and then the lead guitar, then the bass guitar, then mallets, and honestly, throughout my existence, there was always vinyl, so I would just, like, admire the grooves, and my late mother, she used to sing in our apartment in Cleveland as though she was in the studio. So she would stand in front of an imaginary microphone, and she would have an imaginary pair of headphones, and she would take one headphone off of her ear and hold the other headphone tightly with the other hand, and she would sing her heart out. And as she would do this, you would have to pay attention to where she was going, like what she's doing. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I was young, but I knew what she was doing. I'm like, wow, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And as she would make literally mixtapes, of which had concepts. She made a movie one time, out of songs she listened to, and they described literally the introduction of characters, you know what I mean, and scenarios and things of that nature, and it was like, when you would listen to when I would listen to these tapes, I'm like, wow, Mom, like, this is, you'd have to ask her, like, I would have to ask her, like, is this your reality? Are you going through this, or are you being creative? Mm-hmm. And as you ask it, she got you. Mm-hmm. So
you created the visual album for Beyonce. Sorry. No, because you just, like, you brought it up before, and I want to forget it. Right. Like, your musicianship and, like, just being a musician. And the one thing that really stuck out to me with the album was how much samples, like, from all aspects you used. Like, there was spinners I heard some 9 Inch Nails. And then, like, there's this one line you have where it's like, have you ever had a conversation with a song you sample? I think that was just so cool, just, like, connecting with samples. How do you connect with samples?
Can't tell you. Can't tell you. You would have to be in the studio. You would have to be in the studio with me to understand and to hear. Yeah, you got to see it yourself, you know. And when you get there, like I mean, there's there's things you can do and there's ways to go about it, but like there's a few producers who can do what I do, you know. So I also felt as I was writing it, like I was upset, you know. I was like, I'm listening to. I wasn't listening to mainstream radio. It's just like, wow, like this record is like, do you feel me? You know, and and that's, I took about a whole week to write the song. You know, like I wanted to document a week in my life. You know, like literally, like this is what my life is. Like I was one place writing the first verse. I was one place writing the second verse, and the third verse sleeping on the 2 train. Like literally coming from a performance in Brooklyn, high as shit, on my way to Harlem. You know, true story. You know, and it was wintertime. It's like late January, early February.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. We actually have a small connection because I watched a documentary about you, and I didn't know that you had such a connection to the New York Amsterdam News. And I used to intern there, and oh my God, that place is my favorite. I just remembered because you were talking about Harlem.
Cool. My mom used to write there.
Yeah. It's a cool place. It's a family environment. Yeah, sorry, I just had to throw that in. Marcus, are you there?
Yeah, no, I was gonna try to figure out, like, we've been highlighting the musicianship and like keep going in that direction. I remember I think it was in 2010. I'm trying to remember off what project you had said that like the top 3 musicians were John Solti, John Williams, and yourself. Do you still feel that way about that list?
George Solti.
Do you still feel the same way about
I might have said John Solti. Like it might have been a typo or a Freudian slip. But George Solti, John Williams, and myself. The reason why this list is what it is goes back to my belief in Sega. As far as George Master being George Solti and John Williams being Jack Splash, and my theory on Quincy Jones being Jay Dilla. But George Solti, be that as it may, whatever it is, George Solti and John Williams hold respectively the number 1 and number 2 spots for the most Grammys won throughout time. So, like, whether or not I get a Grammy or whatever the case may be, music is the only love to Pink Lavalamp.
Yeah. I know, like, I think you brought up Sega a few times, and, like, obviously your love for Sega is well known. Like, how did you get into Sega? Like, why do you love Sega so much? Why do you love Sonic so much? Like, where does that love come from?
Acceptance of the things unseen, like, whether it's the biblical definition of faith or the love of paganism, and pagan, Sega, like Carl Sagan, Sega, like there's just there's too many coincidences in history and reality of which make it very difficult for someone with an open mind to deny. I can't. I really can't deny it. You know, and I feel what I feel about Sega. You know, like if you get high, you know what I'm talking about. And you know, and there I sit. You know, there I lay, and I don't want to through conversation, or should I say, put on record my adamance about Sega. But I will say this: in the Islamic faith, anthropomorphism is literally a sign of the end times for Earth. What I mean is characters such as Sonic, Silver, Shadow, Crash Bandicoot, Annie, you know,
Tails.
Tails, even Lolita. You know what I mean? Like there's many Amy Rose. You know, there's many anthropomorphic characters of the ancient. I do believe we have seen the rise and demise of Pac-Man with Tupac. You know, we've seen the rise and demise of Donkey Kong with Biggie. If you don't want to, Sega, you know what I mean? Like that's what I believe in. You know, so I'm not wrong, but I think me taking a Bill Nye approach to talking about the ancient and the philosophication of mere truth led people to look at me like, oh, this clown ass nigga wearing pink. All right, cool. Well, how about this? Say what you want about Ogilvy Maurice Hedgehog. You dig? Mm-hmm. I'm going to tap into myself, and we're gonna see each other eye to eye. Don't know anything about me. You know what I mean? Like, don't literally like do not know who I am. If you insult it, don't go to a bodega. You know, like literally, like just make sure you can go mic for mic with me, beat for beat with me. You know, like don't you cross certain lines. You know, so I'm not. This ain't a game. So I've been aware of elements and arenas in music, but I'm not playing. You know what I mean? Like neither are they. You know, like a lot of my favorite modern producers, they are not playing.
Right.
But
it's not a joke for them.
Like there's like it's a matter of survival. You know, like this. None of this is funny. Like this is real. But don't put me in a position where I not only have to defend myself in my music, like I have to jeopardize, a certain level of status unspoken. You know, and I'm making sure when I hold conversations or try to collaborate with people that they are clear that I'm working on a certain level. You know, and I don't play around. You know, and you can't always get what you want. You know, and because of that, people try to take. Because I won't lose, they try to help them cheat. You know, so I keep it moving.
Are there any superficial? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Are there any superficial reasons you like Sonic though, other than like it being like tied to your faith? Or they're just like, do you just like a video game?
No. There's no There are no superficial reasons. Like I love his speed. You know, like I play Sonic with strategy. Actually, like Sonic 2 is the definitive game. You know, my top 3 Sonic games would be number 1, Sonic 2, number 2, the first Sonic, number 3, Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood.
Really?
You know, and like
that's a deep pick.
Yeah, like I got love for, you know, I played Sonic Spinball with my best friend Halo. We had a blast playing Sonic Spinball. I also at the same time, like I felt Sonic being in a pinball environment is just abusing him, you know, and Sonic has been through so much abuse, you know. Sonic is Freddy in a Curtis Mayfield song.
Wow.
Everybody's misused him, ripped him off, and abused him.
Mhm.
You know, so like for Sonic to finally be given the opportunity to make decisions and make moves of which would progress him as opposed to running, getting the money, and killing, and you know, like whatever. Like
that RPG
he's now
really gives him a whole different dimension.
He's now a team player. Correct. He's now a team player. I'm saying correct, but you know, I dig.
That's what you believe.
He's able to make decisions. You know, he's a team player. You know, there's obviously more to what he has to do than just fight the bad guys. You know, but this is like he's got his home turf and he's got his girlfriend, and his girlfriend, he isn't a dependent. You know, like she can hold her own. And his friend is physically more stronger than him, but he fucked him up in Sonic 3. You know what I mean? Like, if you like, and after being humiliated and losing everything because of, you know what I mean? Like, we took it to the top. It's like, it's me and you, nigga. Like, what up? Like, you know, and then it's like, you know how this goes. So if you don't know, you're not winning this fight, and I'm going to the next zone, and whether I die or not, what you did to me in this simulation, I've gotten my self-respect back. You know, so several games later, it's like, all right, man, like, yeah, you hit hard, hit them niggas that way. Babe, you okay? All right, remember who I am, dog, like, whoever, and just keep it moving. You know, and even then, even with how much I enjoy Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood, there is a compromise. And this very compromise reflects my own internal struggle, you know, like, but again, like, you know, me talking about that is the quote unquote Central Ward trickle. So I'm not gonna go there for too long, but you know, I'm open to any other questions you have.
Even a little bit earlier, you described a little bit about how people can perceive you, and I was thinking a lot about what happened on the track Voices, where you kind of talked about your desire to be removed from people trying to package you and label you. How do you think people understand you now, and more specifically, like your fans or even the Star Chasers? Like, do you think we've learned not to do stuff like that, or how do you relate with the fans in that way?
I listen to. All right, bring this back. I'm not like Trav. I literally know what the voices are. You know what I mean? I know who the voices are. But you've been the listener or the fans, as I call them, star chasers, they don't. If you are high and you look at what I'm talking about, you will understand. So I could very easily say don't do drugs and things of that nature, but you make decisions. You grow. You live and you learn. You have the decision to indulge or you could abstain. My indulgence has been what's enjoyed by my fans. My abstinence has been called psychotic streams of thought or unclear. So I don't, because I make music for love, I'm a slave to the opinion of those of whom support my music. But because I love music, I rebel against the opinions of those who support my music.
I think that kind of ties in with your song. Oh, sorry.
And of course the Sonic the Hedgehog, the Spinners, and it's a shame you don't believe Sonic is that important to music, sound, reality, and the big shame, the lack of belief in Sega. And also voices are what keyboard sounds are called.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. I feel like you kind of talk about that same kind of idea in Loser too. And that's like the only video from the project, I think, as well. Like, what made you decide to highlight that song from the album by making it like a video that you shot at your high school, like very personal project?
Well, great. As far as it being a video, Double XL, they appreciated the project and must have used their third eye and saw some images technically, literally, paranormally, physically put into the song and, directed the video from there. I can draw whatever conclusions as far as the reason why they wanted to make a video for a self-depreciative song. It could be we got to break them or we got to break them, however you want to look at it. It is what it is. It was a free album, I didn't have to pay for the video, and I'm appreciative for that. And it's a favorite song of mine because I know what I mean by it. And there's two other people in this galaxy who know, actually 5 other people in this galaxy who know what I'm talking about with this song. Possibly 6, and the 7th I got love for. It's just I feel it could have gone somewhere else, but I literally some of my distant relatives, they definitely understand where I was coming from. But that's something I can keep to myself.
That's something I've always thought was interesting about how you've tried to always set up your music, is that you've always been very deliberate about, like, every song has a specific meaning, has this thing, but you always want it. I feel like you always want either your fans to spend time with it to figure it out on their own. You're never going to necessarily package them exactly what to take from it. So even stuff with Loser, even stuff, there are things that people take, but it's not exactly what it is that you would necessarily design for them to take. Is that always very deliberate?
I know, like, all right, KRS-One is a world-renowned battle rapper, right?
Right.
He's also known as the teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
As I shut you down musically, I'm teaching you something. So it's up to you to, stay in the class and deal with my verbal corporal punishment. Or you can leave class in the middle or just cut class completely. But there will come a time where you're going to hear something from me. And the corporal punishment won't be as diplomatic. It's not going to be a slap in the face. It's not, it just hurt. You know what I mean? Like, it would not be pleasant at all. So, that's where I stand. Like, I as I said, I make music for love, but there are some artists who know exactly what I'm doing, saying, and talking about.
One thing I've always wanted to ask, as you've provided a lot throughout, one of the things that I've been thinking about is that your discography there's a lot in your discography. It's hard to keep up nearly yearly, and one of the things I've always wondered is, like, how do you think about, like, the permanency of your music going forward in this digital age? Are you concerned about certain projects being lost forever? Or do you even have a copy of all the projects you've ever put out?
I do. What I don't have, I can go get. I've also noticed in some projects that some songs are missing, and I could respond, but just lets me know people have listened. So I don't care either way.
You don't care either way.
There will be brighter days.
Always.
Pink Lavalamp.
That's cool. The other thing too, like, you were kind of one of the first rappers to, like, drop projects, like, right, like, after project after project after project. Would you ever want to do that again? Like, what do you think of that technique now?
Well, it's been complained about by the same people who want it again.
Of course.
So, like, I'm not aware of any baby mamas of whom I have to go through this with. Like, I've given pieces of myself out of and for love, and have been criticized, and I'm not a sore loser. I'm not. I've reached papal infallibility, but there's always going to be haters. But when more than one person says the same thing, there might be some credence to what's being said. So it's been said Charles needs to sit down and make a full, complete project. I'm like, I was upset when I first heard it, and around 2014, I went ahead and listened. And, it was called the unhamiltonization process. And I put a lot of work in, a lot of work. Like, I definitely put my best foot forward. And, I I didn't get the deal in 2014. Like I was working on it in starting from 2012, and it's been an experience, working with the administrators I work with, but I know I am a musician. You know what I mean? Like literally feel the plight of Questlove. Dude knows what he's doing. Like as far as being a producer. Yes, he's in a band. Don't sleep on his band or his bandmates.
Definitely not.
But don't put yourself in a situation where when you hear Questlove's solo material, you think, oh, he just plays the drums or he he doesn't know what he's doing. No, like don't do that. Like, but again, like perception makes a consumer more likely to deny greatness. Andrew W.K. Actually, I bring it back. Marilyn Manson, when he first hit the mainstream, he was wearing a wedding dress and covering a Eurythmics song. Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's gay. He did fucking like, all right. See you when you go to sleep." And it was about 2 months before Marilyn Manson was the top of music.
Do you feel like it's the same with you when like people were like this album, especially like it's kind of steeped in controversy? Do you feel like now it's like, look at me now, or like even like looking back in 12 years, like what have you learned, or is there anything you would have done differently looking back at the Pink Lavalamp?
I would have probably played the guitar.
Ooh.
There's a version of Satellite with me playing the guitar over the bridge. Yeah. It was supposed to be on staff development, but the Pink Lavalamp had to be released before that song. It's called the Satellite, the VH1 version.
Okay.
But Satellite VH1 version. But that's what it's called. I would have played the guitar. And there it is. I knew what I was doing with the Pink Lavalamp. I know what I'm doing with music, but I know what I'm doing with the Pink Lavalamp. I knew what I was doing.
Would you think about releasing that version with the guitar on the re-release?
I gotta find it. I gotta contact. The former studio manager, and
yeah, like your ability to like go through through multiple instruments and multiple sounds, like one of the things that you've called yourself, and even thinking about the track you did a few years ago with Mickey Fax, 8-Bit Dreams, you've called yourself an 8-bit rapper. Like, how would you is when you call yourself an 8-bit rapper more so about like how you use the sounds electronically, or like where's your headspace with that?
Oh man, it's a technique, not many people have done what I can do with sound, music, and bits, and it's been that way for a while, engineering-wise, with the Pink Lavalamp, I share the engineering role with Lionel Shalik Martin. But, after the Pink Lavalamp, started handling things on my own. And I felt I can, like, I had to grow on my own. I guess there's such thing as being a team player, and you know, being an you know, what is it, the sum of one's parts? The phrase escapes me right now, but like,
When the,
you know, I don't,
the greater of the sum of your parts.
something like that. But I don't want to be lenient on some, like, creativity doesn't stop at the absence of someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, like, you got to keep going. So I've gone, I for proof of where I've gone sonically, Brooklyn Girls was a hit. You know, like, I mixed it, made the beat, wrote it, you know, mastered it. You know, it was remastered for iTunes, but there was actually several compliments from Interscope, Universal, and Apple as far as how I mastered it in such a way where it was ready for iTunes. Like, wow, you did that. I'm like,
Nice.
I know. You know, like, I'm good at what I do.
Right.
And you know, as far as being an 8-bit rapper, no one has been there. No one's gone there. You know, sonically and musically, it's like, lyrically, no one's done it. You know, and so my 1 is an 8.
So we've asked you a lot of questions, but is there anything else you want to talk about or anything you want to ask us?
Well, I mean, intothehamilton.blogspot.com. Next season, CharlesHamiltonJr.bandcamp.com.
Right.
You know, Amazing Sega. You know, so
a lot more projects.
Oh, I mean, those, you know, projects will. How can I say this? Polo Grounds was once the home of the Brooklyn Dodgers, so the projects have more beauty and history in them than meets the eye.
Right. The other thing I wanted to ask is, like, this is, as you said, this is the 10th year. So you said Pink Lavalamp will be on Spotify. People can pre-order on CD and vinyl. Where can they pre-order?
ThePinkLavalamp.com.
What made you decide to release it now? I don't know if we ever answered that. I mean, it is the 10-year anniversary.
I mean, what I stand for speaks for itself. You know, and I definitely, you know, it's 10 years this December, but technically, as you know, subconsciously spoken, this is the 12th year of the Pink Lavalamp. You know, so you know, I literally feel as though people, like, either know who I am and are trying to get under my skin, or I've been right in my other world and you just got to know me. And if you've just gotten to know me, allow me to reintroduce myself.
Perfect.
We thank you for taking your time to even spend with us at all today.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, bro. This has been dope.
Well, I appreciate you wanting to hear me talk.
That's good.
Most deaf. And we are back. That was fun.
It was fun. He has so much to say. It was really interesting.
Definitely. And, let me ask you a quick question. Because you weren't as big of a Charles person going into this from the get-go as much as I was.
No, I love his music from what you've shared with me in the past, but this was the first full project I've listened to of his, with the Pink Lavalamp for this podcast, and I loved it. It was really great. But I just thought it was funny how I'm literally listening to it as it's about to be re-released 10 years later, and you listened to it when it first came out.
Yep, there's too much to remember about that time, but I'm just like, what was it like to actually hear him kind of add himself to that project? Because I think that project is so personal.
Mm-hmm.
How does it change how you think about the project, or you digest it, you think?
The one thing that stuck out to me, is just how he came up with the name. I thought that was really cool. Just I would have never put that together. Just him being the soul and electro kind of putting those two together. I would have never thought of that. That was really cool. And this, I kind of want to really listen to it now and just see how he blends the two subgenres together.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think this leads us into our what question of the week.
What about you? How would you like
for
to
me,
Charles?
I was trying not to stand too much. That's pretty much my entire goal.
Listen to
the entire
every
thing.
project
So people,
ever.
No, I feel like I've said it on the show before, or maybe I've just told you, because Charles's music for pretty much my entire undergrad was my soundtrack, or it was it very much was about how I viewed life and how I understood certain things. I wanted to ask a bunch more questions. We had too many questions. We probably wore him out. He probably got tired of us asking questions by the end of it.
Possibly. Very possible. We had a lot of questions.
We did. I know there are Star Chasers and it was you didn't ask about the blue lava lamp, or even look, I get it. We didn't do everything. We can't do it. It's too much. But I'm just glad to engage with him. I'm just hopeful to maybe we get him on again just to enjoy talking about stuff, because that whole other stuff that he was talking about at the beginning that he's been engaging himself with, it's kind of cool. So
yeah, definitely. So back to our what question.
What is your favorite Charles Hamilton song? So Victoria, what's your favorite Charles Hamilton song?
So I'm obviously I'm a novice to his music, so I'm going with Loser. When I listen to the project, I think this Loser and Latte and I forgot the name. It was the song you said that was one of his most popular ones. Oh, She's So High. Those are the three that really stuck out to me. But I think I really like Loser just because it's kind of about him being owning up to this label that's been placed on him and just kind of rising above it to a degree and kind of I don't know. It kind of reminded me of it's gonna sound weird, the nerds you see like Mark. Well, it's a bad example now, but Mark Wahlberg. Not Mark Wahlberg. Wow, Mike Zuckerberg. How this nerd in high school, but then becomes a billionaire. Who's kind of I'm this then and I'm this now. I'm still a loser then and a loser now, a nerd then and nerd now, but I've owned it and I've showed you how that could be a wonderful thing. I think that was really
right.
Cool.
I feel like that's such a big part of Charles, taking that label and just nah, it's not that whack, and I'm not if you're gonna call me that, I'm still gonna be a better rapper than you, regardless, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. I think he kind of said that in the interview too, where he was like, "You can like make fun of me all you want, but you better be able to like come with your bars." Which is
yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could keep going with that stuff. But
yeah. What's your favorite?
Never Ever. That is my favorite track. That is the track that I think, like, when I think about like being in love with someone or infatuated with someone, that's the song that comes to mind about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's this phrase of like, you end up saying it's like your mind is a metropolis, so like let's take a trip inside of your mind and like really get to know how you're thinking. Like stuff like that really, like they really resonate. And I think it's from a production standpoint, how you flip that Stevie Wonder ad sample, like that project, like your mind is not, your imagination isn't made for your common sense. Like he's got so many bars in that. That's my favorite.
So let us know your favorites. You can get at us through our email, nerdsonhiphop@gmail.com, or you can message us on Twitter @nerdsonhiphop. What else are we? I guess just our personal.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit us up on Instagram.
At Miss Old with a K.
I'm the WolvesDen25, and we're also on Twitter, so if you want to hit us up directly,
we are there. We're everywhere.
We even on Facebook.
Or you just hashtag Nerds on Hip Hop. We are on Facebook too. It's true. Nerds on Hip Hop.
I realized we never plugged the Facebook. We never
plugged our Facebook. We are on Facebook, guys. You can like us if you want. You can not like us if you want. Just go to the page and just ignore it if you want it.
Or you want to give us a 1-star review, we'll take it.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, we don't have any reviews right now, so I mean, why not? And we're on iTunes. I don't know where you're listening to this from, but we are on iTunes. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Podcast Addict. We are many places. So wherever you want to listen to us, please feel free to leave a review there, wherever you're listening, or just listen.
Yeah, and we're grateful for you guys for spending time with us today. We got our next episode or our next filler. I'm not sure which one we're going to do. We have 2 big announcements.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to hear. We have some major announcements coming.
Say that again?
So we have some major announcements coming. I'm so excited.
Yeah, just clear your schedules in April and May. That's all we'll say. Yeah, for 2 months straight. 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. 2 whole months. Make sure you do absolutely nothing. We're really just like 2 different weekends at the end of each month.
We're not being subtle enough. Whatever. We'll talk to you guys about these announcements later.
Yeah, you guys probably guessed it. Yeah.
Thanks
for listening.
Sayonara, son.